Qualify the Podcast, Season 2. I'm your host, Hassan. With me, I have the distinguished Trina Broussard, platinum artist, currently in town, briefly working on projects. We'll get into that, but I wanted to do a little bit of nostalgia this time. I wanted to actually talk about how this music, this person, this woman has affected my childhood, my upbringing. There's some history here, but we don't have all day to talk about it, but we will touch on a few items. I'm more than ecstatic to have her in studio with me, and with her we also have another guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone. Hello Houston, Texas. My name is Dominique Howard. Happy to be here with everyone.
Dominique Howard. Dominique, from LA.
Yes, born and raised. I am an actor, background vocalist, writer, producer of the theater, and branching out towards the film lane.
Today's a music day. And where I am not the bastion of all things music. Qualify the Podcast, just FYI, the reason why I've named it this is because I am not the person that's qualified to speak on all these things. I do like to have conversations with people who are. And who better to talk to about music than someone who has over 1 million streams off of the album. I almost did a backflip, and I still can. I almost did a backflip when I saw it. I said, man, this is a beautiful thing. I just wanted to take a trip down memory lane while I had you, and there was just a few things that I wanted to bring up. So first of all, we did that off camera because I was just trying to make sure that I was speaking intelligently about these categories. But in that, you made a point about categories that I didn't know. Personal feelings as well as subjectively what these make for the music industry. Let me tell you why I asked it though. I'm a record collecting CD era kid, right? So, you know, we used to, down here, we used to just run over to Soundwaves and pick up anything, right? Here's the big basket of stuff for $1. You pick up those singles, maxi singles and stuff like that, right? And when I started tuning into the fact that A, you're signed, and B, you're making music, and this stuff is in the record store. So when I'm shopping for this and I'm searching for it, I'm looking at singles, and the singles are categorized into R&B, soul, neo soul, right? What's the other one? Progressive, right? But it is all still R&B. Why do they branch it?
Again, as I mentioned to you earlier, you know, evolution is inevitable. It's inevitable. You know, things evolve. And I guess, you know, when you go back and you look at the era of jazz, of the Cab Callaways, and you go and look at the eras of Sarah Vaughan's, things change, you know, but there's always those little sprinkles of influence coming from here and there that you incorporate into the new evolved era of music. So
Sure.
I think everybody is looking for something new to branch off of, or something new to branch off of. Something new to branch off of for the sake of new ears and newcomers, which means it's for new kids who, you know, they want a little bit more bottom up under their R&B. They want a little bit more swing to it. So, you know, again, evolution is inevitable. Things evolve, and it's not a bad thing either. It's not a bad thing.
I get it. From a classical perspective, I'm a purist of buying music, right? You're a purist in the music. It would make more sense to me that, you know, because I buy music that fits my mood. So it would make more sense to me that I could find all of this in the brackets. I think that from a marketing perspective, this makes some sense. I just can't. It hurts when I hear an artist have a gripe about it, because I think that, and I'm always thinking money. This podcast actually has a little bit of the backbone, the spine of how this is about business, right? And it's just my natural curiosity that if you did indeed recategorize music this way, does that affect the artist's bottom line?
You mean if I categorize it today for what it is today?
Sure.
What it's doing today? Yes and no. And what I mean by that is, if when you look at Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, and let's be very clear, I don't knock anybody for doing what you have to do and making your money to feed your family and to set up generational wealth. That's, and particularly women, you know, who are doing this. But, you know, music has changed, and I keep bringing up the word evolution. And when I say evolution and things evolve, that doesn't necessarily mean that's for the good either, you know. But everybody has a right to, I think all music is valid to a certain degree. Hey, you may like a certain thing that I don't like, and I may like a certain thing that you don't like, and that's just how it is. But what I mean by yes and no, to answer your question from the top of the conversation. You have some great independent artists who are not being heard because of the gatekeepers. Because of the gatekeepers, you know. You have some really, really great artists, and you have the gatekeepers that'll make them feel like they're not enough when the people that some of the people they have up front are just eye candy. You know, it's no type of substance to it. I'm just being honest. You know, some people may say the same thing about me, but you're asking me these questions, and these are the questions that consumers, that other artists, these are the real questions. I mean, these are the real answers that we sit up and we talk about. These are the answers that we give each other. And that's not to knock anybody. It's just an honest, authentic conversation. But at the end of the day, different strokes for different folks, and that takes nothing. That doesn't take anything from everybody. Hey, I'm not ashamed of my age. I'm 51. My taste is a little different in music, but that doesn't mean that sometimes I don't bob my head to something if I hear a nice bottom or a nice beat. You know, it is what it is. It just goes back. It goes back to the word that I keep using: evolution. Things evolve.
Sure.
And it's according to your taste, what you like and what you don't like. And what I do hate is when it comes to marketing and everybody saying, you know, it's a new hot thing. It's a new thing. Listen, some of this stuff is not good. I'm sorry. It's just not. I don't care how popular you jumping on the train. Some of it's not. I mean, it's just like if you keep churning the lie, quote unquote, like this last, it's called programming. Mm-hmm. You keep programming it, eventually you just catch on. You keep even when you don't like it, it's a certain part of the song that come and be like, da 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 da. Oh, I hate that song, but I've heard it so much. I hear it. I know that part.
This is my Laffy Taffy story.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And I want to be clear. I'm not knocking anybody. Go after your dream and do what you do. But it's like it's the gatekeepers at times that have made the less talented feel like they can look down on the talented. And the talented needs to watch themselves too, because the talented can be a little snooty and be a musical what do they call it? A musical snob. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like it's just. It's the yin and the yang, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's all over the place. But yes and no to your question, yes. Does it affect that bottom line? Yes and no.
My curiosity comes from knowing enough people in the music industry, independent and mainstream, mm-hmm. and now knowing the vessels that they have to use in order to sell music, right? In order mm-hmm. to get their music out. Because mm-hmm. radio is not the same as what it was anymore. Mm-hmm. And their formatting is still the same as what it was back then. Mm-hmm. So you can actually get the same classical music, but you know, if you've been, first album is 1997.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that's over 20 years ago.
Right. First 1997, I had a chance to. My first debut was 1997 on the Love Jones soundtrack
right.
album. So, excuse me, that wasn't quite my album yet. I didn't come out until 99. But then that right when I was coming out, it got shelved because I got caught in between the shuffle of So Def, Sony, Jermaine Dupri, and some other executives that were involved up top. Mm-hmm. And I got caught in the crossfire.
Sure.
So that album never came out. Mm-hmm. And when you asked about expansion went back in and asked them for, I guess, the rights or whatever to have it released overseas. And that kind of sparked some stuff. But to my understanding, I would look on eBay and the record never came out, but I would see people were going back and forth bidding for as high as $500 for the record that wasn't released, you mm-hmm. know? And then I saw this article, Gail Mitchell, who is a top executive now in the industry. I think she's with Billboard magazine now, but she had written an article in magazine and she wrote an article and said one of the best albums to not come out. I mean, but it is what it is, Hassan. You know, when you look back now at it, it was a lot going on, and there's no regrets. I can honestly say that part of that was God saying I wasn't ready. Mm-hmm.
So when I hear this, it still hurts because whenever someone that you know actually is going for it, mm-hmm. you want to see them hit the summit mm-hmm. as soon as possible, mm-hmm. right? So let's say it like this, just so that you can do the awe moment. Wait for it. Mm-hmm. It's Not Really Christmas in my house played as much as the Temptations' Merry Christmas did.
Oh, wow, from your father.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just how that works. So we got the album, the vinyl, they're playing mm-hmm. Temptations, mm-hmm. but the CD player is playing It's Not Really Christmas.
Wow.
Right? Mm-hmm. All the time.
Wow.
And that in itself is how this works from a pure support perspective. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But if you look at it now, like just say that annually, because it still on radio stations here, Magic mm-hmm. 102 still mm-hmm. plays it.
Right.
So you'll catch the spin. It's just always in the back of your head. Like, I really want to make sure that she's receiving something for this, other than the accolade, other than someone saying, "Girl, I heard your song on the radio again." It was great. It's been 20 years running. I would like to see the coin from it, though. Right? It's like that. That's always the thing in the back. So on a major label, the way I understood it is that, the breakdown happens so much that it's fractionalized in terms of the profit that one would get. Independent's better, I guess, in theory. Am I off base on that?
Independent is better, but independent, you don't have the same components that you would as a regular label, and it's not a bad thing either. But with independent, just imagine working 3 times harder because it's all you. You got to make sure you got a great team. You got to make sure you have a fan base. Like a fan base. And I always say to my girlfriend, a good friend of mine who has been in the industry for some years, and she's just starting to go the independent route. And what we always say to each other to encourage each other, and it's the truth: build it and they will come. Continue to build, continue to build. And I always tell the story about T.D. Jakes. I saw him talk about how he and his wife would use his friend's basement. This is before he became the T.D. Jakes that everybody knows. And he talked about how they would fold these chairs out every Saturday night, like 100 chairs, put them out every Saturday night. Nobody came. Just kept doing it. I mean, just you talk about faith. I mean, God bless him. I mean, but finally, he just kept believing, and folks was like, man, you keep putting these chairs out, nobody's coming. And he had a faith that was unshakable, you know what I'm saying? And he had a woman that stood by him that saw it, and everybody else thought he was crazy. But here we are with the great Bishop T.D. Jakes, who ministers to the world.
Sure. Yeah.
Now,
no, absolutely.
Instead of those 100 chairs, So I say that build it and they will come.
Sure.
It's work even with the label, but it's work. It's yours. Again, like I said, you don't have all the perks and some of the help that you would have from the big machine. It's your little machine that's running or whatever. But if it's your baby and you believe in it and you're going to protect it, you do what you have to do. But I've seen several times where some of my friends have gotten exhausted. I'm gonna be honest with you. I stopped for a minute. I'm not gonna lie. I moved out of the way from it. Totally removed from doing solo stuff. My first time coming back in was 2015 with a do, and where I'm supposed to be. But other than that, music started changing. Producers started changing, which is not bad. Everybody was trying to find their place in the sun, that new vibe they're trying to make, or that new reinvention of themselves, of their music or whatever. So I took a break, and I have no regrets. I took a break.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think that helped your mental space as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, well, then I think it's valid to do so. I've listened to all of your music at some point in time, right? Most recently, what I have streaming is Same Girl.
Okay.
Because I just like it. Now, it's what I play in my house.
Okay.
So, like, for me, it's not car music, but it is something that is ambient.
I got you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And then right next to that comes with Guapole, and right after that comes in with Grenique. And I'm like, Amazon must know my heart. So, like, it keeps running back and forth. But I think, and again, it made me think about the categories and say, well, Groove Theory was like the first R&B album I bought, right? So this was how that worked. And we are 6 degrees of separation from Groove Theory through Trey Lorenz, right? So shout out to Trey Lorenz. Hope you're doing great. So when I listen to that, this flows in, I hate saying category, but it flows in the same category to me as how a do sounds. Let's say it like this. If I had played Guapole first, I feel like yours would have came up too, which is good in the streaming era for the sake of category or categorizing, so that we could listen to artists that one would never really hear within that vein of music. And I think that's helpful. I digress. How do you feel about social media in terms of how, actually for the both of you, how do you feel that social media helps now? Being that we've probably been in the game, and we're going to assume that you've been doing this type of art for over 15 years. So then from songwriter, vocalist, singer, performer, as well as thespian, but how do you feel that social media now will help you communicate with a core audience and or build an established audience in such a classical field? Is this a hindrance? Is this a help? Or is it just a brand new challenge, essentially?
I always see it as a gift and a curse.
Okay.
In terms of the classical field, I think it's diluted it a lot.
Okay.
Because there was way more mystery for artists. There was more time for artists to get themselves together, to work on whatever they need to work on before they present it to the world. But now social media comes with the pressure of having to always be on, having to always put content out.
Sure.
And then now people are more so living for likes and follows, much less the art. So I believe that it lessens the integrity of the art. It becomes more about, viewers and followings,
Okay.
Things that are really not, as important as the art is.
Yeah.
And back in the classical, era, the art is what drew the views and the likes and
Sure.
the people.
Yeah.
Now it's just you're doing it just to be doing it, just to attract people, and it just takes the fun out of it. And it's great for entrepreneurship. It's great to, they have these hashtags and people spread them all over the world. You get to meet new people. You get to network that way. However, the intentions have changed. So that's why I say a gift and a curse, because it could go either way. And also, with that being said, in casting for dancers, singers, and actors, they look at your following as well, like how many people that follow you.
Yeah.
And I've literally sat in a casting room, looked at auditions. I've watched, actors nail it, but won't get cast because of their following.
They're not big enough.
They're not big enough because they're trying to save on promo and marketing for the TV show and then hire that reality star who has no acting chops whatsoever, but they have 10 million followers opposed to this guy who only has maybe 1,000,
Sure.
but who's very well qualified for the role.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a little tough. It goes both ways.
It does. I 100% agree with you in the sense that social media does, in a sense, require volume as opposed to a really good composite, impactful piece of work. Right. Over time. It can be the SoundCloud era. We call it the SoundCloud era, where someone was just making mixtapes left and right. So they were really just doing where music, at least from my perspective, and I might be wrong here, but music went from an album to a single, and that was the basis of how it is you gauge your marketplace. That's the basis of how you gauge, did the single do well, as opposed to the album.
Right.
Like you can put out 19 songs, that got shortened. So like most people are doing 12, hot 12, right?
Right.
But that, to me, is about a strategy of volume. You don't have to, you're going to saturate the market. You don't have to put out that much work. Keep some in the chamber. Load it, send this out, bank it, and distribute it as possible. I think we're all guilty of it if we have to play in the social media bracket.
Right.
But I agree. I came from that same era because in film, just simple math on film, one roll of film is 26 shots. Digital is the difference between shooting with a sniper rifle and just an assault rifle. It's just everything. You just hit everything. 700 frames. Here you go. Download it all to a disc. You're looking at it immediately as you shoot it.
Right.
That to me was dilution too when that came out.
Yeah.
Because it took, I hate to, listen, I love you, but it took talent and put it in the back seat.
Right.
Right.
There you go.
Again, that's me not griping because we all had to acquiesce to it because that became the standard norm.
It's not griping, it's just not okay. Because a lot of the people from that classical era, early 2000s, 90s, 80s, everybody who were qualified to do it, a lot of them were trained musicians.
Sure.
People who studied music, people who studied vocals,
Yes.
People who researched and did the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for them to be put in the back seat, that's not okay.
Sure.
Because these are the trailblazers that opened the door for the millennials and for the Gen Zers.
Yeah.
They are the blueprint for us.
Absolutely.
And
why would you not study how, if
did
that's
it.
the blueprint, why would you not study how they did it?
Why? Why not?
Because it's too much work and it takes too much time.
Say it again.
That's the answer I hear. Facilitating workshops and doing all these things. And for that, what I get is a generational difference in understanding about how the process should work.
Right.
So if you say trust the process, that's fine. But however long the process takes, that's a test of your attrition.
Right.
That's a test of your virtue. So if you're not the one, then this ain't for you.
Right.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean that you should find a shortcut in order to find a better way to do the thing.
Right.
You should just go through the trial.
Exactly. Go through the process.
So really, there's no way around it. And if you have taken the shortcut, eventually
It's gonna catch up to
it
you.
shows up.
It shows. Okay. Favorite soul singer?
Favorite soul singer? Oh, I would have to say Stevie Wonder.
Okay, soul singer. You went male. I'm gonna ask for female. Think about it.
Okay.
Favorite actor?
Oh my God, that's so hard
I know.
to narrow it down
Yeah.
just to one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. One of my favorites, Angela Bassett.
Okay.
She is a Yale School of Drama trainee graduate.
Okay.
And I absolutely get chills every time I see her perform.
Gotcha. So just so that we can be fair and balanced to this, and we'll just go binary.
Yes.
So they don't have to hear about this later.
Absolutely.
Actress was yours. Stevie Wonder, singer. Okay. Female singer.
Aretha Franklin.
I knew you were going to say it. I just needed you to say it.
Of course.
Okay. And favorite actor.
I love some Denzel. I love Denzel. He never. I guess I'm answering all the cliche people, right?
No, listen.
No?
It's not a cliche if it's true.
If it's, I mean,
You know,
I love
how are you
them.
going to argue that Denzel Washington isn't a dynamic actor? Who would? And if someone has a, he's not as good as some, that's opinion. That's the reason why I'm asking it. I wanted to know your opinion on it.
Yeah.
And so no, why not?
And I honestly will admit it's very biased because I love theater actors. They're my favorites. People that come from the theater, they can do TV, film, they can do anything.
Sure.
And it stretches them. It stretches their acting muscle.
Yeah.
And they dig from deep places. They do the work. Not to say that TV actors don't.
Sure.
I'm not discrediting anybody.
Yeah.
But theater actors, we're not afraid to get on stage and look crazy or get on
Right.
camera and look crazy. If we got like Viola Davis, she's always snotting and crying. We're not afraid of that.
Yeah.
We love that. We'd like to dive into the meat.
Sure.
So that's why I pick the people that I pick, because they're not afraid.
What I always liked about actors and actresses is that, see, I'm really good at being me,
Yes.
and I can't be anybody else.
Hello.
And your field, your craft requires you to tap into someone else's personality in order to communicate this message.
Right.
I've found that to be a gigantic brick wall in terms of where I can do anything. I can't do that. I can document you. I can talk to you. I
Right.
cannot do what you do. And I always find that amazing. I love it to death. And that's why I enjoy watching it. And I enjoy picking the brain of the person, because being enigmatic is a lost art.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed Jack Nicholson is a fantastic actor, right?
Yes.
And the only time you would see him outside of the theater or outside of the screen was at a Lakers game.
Of course.
That's it.
Sitting next to Lou Adler.
That's it. I said, well, these are the only two places you can see him, on screen or at that game.
Absolutely.
Other than that, his movements are very, very limited. And maybe he's a wild guy, and he apparently was, but his circle was small.
Right.
And I think keeping a small circle is important if you want to be enigmatic.
Right.
My circle's so small, I almost cut myself off. So,
Right.
it's a little different. Okay.
Listen, learning.
So, Aretha Franklin, who you have an association with, she's your top one. Prince isn't categorized this way?
Ooh.
Absolutely. It's so many, it's hard to choose. Absolutely, Prince.
I don't think Prince would be mad if you said Stevie was your favorite, though. You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
Absolutely, Prince is. Prince, you talking about male soul singers. Prince,
Yeah.
Johnny Hathaway was a part of our household.
Sure.
Maurice White. I'm sure there are others that are coming along that I can't think of off the top of my head.
Gotcha.
My brother, Rashawn Patterson, I was talking to him the other day. I've learned so much from him as far as knowing how to go in and
Shout out to Rashawn.
yeah, shout out to
Yes.
Rashawn. How to go in and deal with an audience with just a totally stripped down stage with just a piano or the guitar player, a full band with no background singers.
Yeah.
You read the room and you close your eyes and you get through it. And I don't mean like rushing, like, I got to do this. But I want to give an example. I went to Montgomery, Alabama last week to do a birthday party. And the guy that was, the host that was having his birthday party, he told me what he wanted. He told me the songs. And unfortunately, the band didn't learn the songs. And it was sort of like, once I got there and understood where I was, most of the people in the audience that came to the birthday party, it was church.
Okay.
And he asked for Inside My Love and You Bring Me Joy by Anita Baker and a couple other songs. Because the band didn't know it, I did You Bring Me Joy first, and I had a song cracking up. I was like, well, I thought I was singing You Bring Me Joy, but I said it was You Bring Me Hope because the band didn't know the song and I didn't know what it was. So I was hoping that somebody would put me in the right key and put me in the right direction to find the note, but I'm joking. But I ended up doing Inside My Love second, and if you know the history and what the meaning behind Inside My Love is, two nuns tried to stop that song from coming out.
Yeah.
But I closed my eyes and I got through it, And what I mean by that is, I said, you're going to have to go in. You can't worry about what these people think, because you go there, I said, what the Lord said, make a joyful noise. He didn't say that to be pop, rock, gospel, if we're going to quote scriptures, so, I get through it.
Went through it.
I get through it. I get through it.
I get to talking to Roby, my brother, because I keep missing Trina. Okay. So like me seeing Trina perform, I've seen Trina perform at the most joyous and sad occasions. These are my two. It's strange to know that, right? But that's the fact of it all. And so in the in-between, it's me chasing her by virtue of her tour dates, and I keep missing it. Right? Even overseas.
We like
I missed you
two
by a
days
week.
off. Yeah, a week or something like that. Yep.
Oh, wow.
It's like I'm going, and she's like, I'm already here. I was like, how long are you staying? And because I know how this works, because I've missed you like 3 times already. So I know how this works. Where are you going next? I don't care if you go to Croatia. I'll just go down to Split, and we'll just all right. It's a train ride. That's all that is. Right. So I get there afterwards. So you've already left. I think you went to France after that, right?
I think
It's like
so.
London, France.
Yeah, I think
and then
so.
You went Eastern Europe after that. I said, all right, I just have to let this go, right? But when I get to London, I'm talking to my brother, and he's telling me, and Kelly is too, that he's walking after the show, because he went, of course. And so after the show, he's talking and walking down the street. He's like, yeah, I was talking to this guy, and he did such a great job at the show. He said, I just wanted to, tell him what I thought about it. He ends up talking to Rashawn Patterson. He didn't even realize, right? But it's how music, the songs, and the impact of music will precede the person. I think that's really what I take away from it, because I just didn't put a face to the name. And that is marketing.
Yeah.
And that is my gripe with marketing. But I come from the area where my work as a published, promoted, internationally displayed artist always went further than my face. I would be next to those shows. They thought that was somebody's little brother sitting next to that picture. No, it's just me waiting for someone to come talk to me about how impactful the photo was. No one ever came to talk to me.
Wow.
But they bought the work.
Right.
That's cool. I'll take the check. We got to talk about Prince for a second. I know I'm gonna not take up all your time, but I have to do this because she loves the purple one.
Yes, I do.
I was in Minnesota and I saw the piano he used to practice on in the mall that was there. It was so good. I didn't do actually at the time I was in Minnesota, Paisley Park was not an attraction.
Okay.
But how do you feel about it being an attraction?
I went.
You went?
I went. Rashawn had a show in Minneapolis, and we actually cut sound check short to get there and to get back in time enough for the show. And it was a couple of us. It was a Robert, the background singer, bass player. We all piled up in this Uber, about 6 of us. It was like, we can't come to Minneapolis and not go to Paisley Park. And we got there, and it was a little weird. It didn't feel. I can't explain it to you. It just felt weird. Almost like Prince don't want us in his house.
So weird, like wrong.
Prince didn't want his stuff to be a museum. Like, he was very private, and what you are displaying just kind of felt like it kind of threw it to, I don't know. It felt weird. We all got back in the car on the way back to the hotel to get ready for Rashawn's. We were like, womp, womp, womp. It just kind of felt, it just didn't feel it. It was just weird. It was weird. Not to say that we didn't appreciate them opening up for some folks who really miss Prince like myself. But if you don't really know Prince and just kind of like been around from the beginning, and Prince was private. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. It was weird.
Got you. Since I'd never been, right? So at the time I was there, they didn't open it up. I heard everyone griping about it. Even Jay-Z had made mention of it in his song. It's like, Jay-Z's got a point. Now, whenever Jay-Z makes a point, I agree with it. I don't know why. In that thought process, because I went to Graceland, and I'm not comparing Prince to Elvis Presley. I don't even think we can. But I am talking about his estate, like just as property. Because there's someone who's going to love Elvis to the degree that one would love Prince. So if you went there, what I felt when I went to Graceland is that I was walking through effectively a mausoleum. I mean, and I, in that theory, don't know if I could go to Paisley Park because it felt strange. Because I'm looking through a very famous person's belongings, and I can't take any of it with me, right? I think that in some way it bastardizes the experience. I think if you I'm only saying it respectfully. I think if you really, really like them at the distance that you like them at the time. And we don't have to flock to this area where, unless the estate's making all the money, that's fine. But Prince didn't want that. Now, maybe Elvis did. Maybe what's his wife? Marie? Lisa Marie?
Lisa, was that the daughter?
Priscilla.
Yes,
Right.
Priscilla.
So maybe Priscilla. No, you're fine. Maybe Priscilla and the estate wanted it that way. And thought it was a good opportunity. I get it.
It didn't feel right to us either.
Okay.
We collectively agreed.
All right.
Without even saying a word, we felt the energy towards each other. We were all riding home like, what did we just watch? What just happened? What did we just go to? It just didn't feel right.
Lightning round. Favorite Prince song of all time? The one. The one that changes your mood no matter what.
Adore. I mean, you just listen to the lyrics. I mean, from the top to bottom.
No, I get it. It's a good one.
It's a very sincere song, but there's so many more. But I mean, Adore just, it stops me in my tracks.
Should we do top three?
Top 3 Prince. I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
So give me 2 more.
Yeah, come back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can't let it go.
Give me 3.
Oh gosh, I love If I Were Your Girlfriend.
Okay.
Even though it was mainstream, Pop Life is really lyrically just
Putting
insane.
up your nose. Yeah.
He's saying some stuff in that song. The third one is tough. Because you have your Raspberry Berets, and then you have Alphabet Street, and you have 7, and then you have the Pink Cashmere song. I mean, there's so many you can go. Yeah.
I've found that the why is always harder to describe because it is pure raw feeling. Like the song is gonna be like, oh no matter what, this song is my favorite. Okay, cool. Why? And then the next thing you know, they're crying, right? Because it's that for them, right?
Yeah.
If I could go with mine, I'm gonna do Purple Rain because I have no choice. However, there's a why, right? And funny enough, what Purple Rain does to me, I'll talk about that in a second. That's one. Erotic City.
Yes, God.
Is another one. And it just recently took the place of Darling Nikki. Like it just recently did. But and then and the third one's always hard. And I don't remember the song, but it was when he was with New Power Generation, and or when he resurfaced and he had MPG with him. And it was. Now I'm gonna sound stupid, but "Stand in the Way of Love Will Smoke Them All." And it's
7.
That is my song. I love that one. Purple Rain is just because Purple Rain.
Well,
Like,
let's be very clear. Not to cut you off, but she said Prince was a great storyteller. Because when you think about, just listen to the story Raspberry Beret. I mean, just the top of it. I was working part-time in a 5 and dime. My boss was Mr. McGee.
Yeah.
He told me several times that he didn't like my kind because I was a bit too leisurely. Seemed that I was busy doing something close to nothing but different than the day before. That's when I saw her. Oh, I saw her. She walked in through the outdoor. Never mind Mr. McGee. I see this girl in this Raspberry Beret
Took
now.
everything off of me.
And then, you get to the bridge. The rain sounds so cool when it's the barn roof. What? And the horses wonder who you are. What? Come on, man.
That is creativity on a whole different level. There's that whole argument between Prince and Michael Jackson. My personal opinion, I don't think they should be compared.
No.
I agree.
I agree with that.
The Prince and Michael Jackson thing, the only thing I would say about it, though, in my opinion, they're not the same type of music.
They're not.
Not at all.
So,
They're not. And what people fail to realize, Michael had been doing it since he was a baby.
Yep.
Right.
Michael been working since he was and not to take anything from Prince, but Michael, for me, I got to practically grow up with Michael Jackson.
Yep.
Think about it.
Yeah.
We're one of the most popular black entertainment groups in the world.
Yeah.
Michael had been doing it since he was a kid. Like, and singing like a grown man when he was a kid. You listen to Who's Loving You and all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Maria and Never Can Say Goodbye. This man has been doing it since he was a kid. So it's like, come on, y'all.
Ben.
They are two different artists, as you would say.
Yeah. Who's Loving You and Never Can Say Goodbye. When he hits the notes, I'm like, ugh.
Right.
That's.
And even besides him hitting the notes and stuff, there's another thing I say too. The way you can be on a high when you come from, is it so? I can't sing right now. And then you go back down, da-da, and it's like you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
You know how to have a conversation through a melody.
Yeah.
Where it's not contrived, it's believable, and it's impactful.
Sure. Yeah.
You
I
know,
really
long
did.
term too. You know.
Yeah. Because we can do this all day long. This was very fun.
Yes.
I really appreciate this. I appreciate you guys taking out the time for this too, because you never really know how these things are going to go. But I try to make sure that it's going to be a great experience within this. But we can close out now because I know we got places to be. So again, Trina, Dominique, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Please tell them where to find you.
Instagram, Trina Broussard, Broussard. You can also find me on Facebook. I have a regular Facebook page and I have a fan artist page. And then first and last name, Trina Broussard on both of them. You can also find me on Twitter. And that's where you can find me. We are still working out my new website, and which should be coming soon. And I'll be posting it on all my platform pages too.
In the meantime, right before we get to you, if you haven't picked up on this, I'm going to go ahead and repeat it. Platinum streaming artist, Trina Broussard. I'm just throwing that out there. So therefore, you can go to Amazon and type in Trina Broussard, and you can find a catalog of music that you can stream and run that stuff up because it's good music. Sweep your house to it as far as we're concerned, but let it play. It is good. It's good for the soul. Dominique.
Yes. I am Dominique Howard on Facebook, and on Instagram, it's French, Je suis Dom. I will spell it out for you. JESUISDOM. It means I am Dom.
So this is Qualify the Podcast. My name's Hassan. You can find me on all digital streaming platforms. You can Google this as well as Google Podcasts to find QLAFD and or Qualified, the podcast, all streaming platforms, including YouTube. Trina.